of course, we thought about the effectiveness of our information security. We're a mid-sized company with several hundred HP and IBM Unix servers, some Linux servers, and about 50 Windows servers. We run custom business apps, Oracle databases, and SAP, ERP. Oh, and we use Tomcat for web services. Before FoxT Server Control, our privileged users, including our web and system administrators, network administrators, and database administrators, all shared root and other special functional account passwords. Even our outside engineers from third-party partners and our storage vendor shared the same root password. While we had a policy in place to change the administrator and functional account passwords with some regularity, it was still next to impossible to safeguard against passwords being compromised. And we certainly couldn't track actions back to a physical user. The other big problem was administering privileged user accounts. Provisioning and deleting user accounts across the various servers was extremely time-consuming. The reality was we just kept giving our privileged users more access rights, and we rarely had the time to properly delete accounts from servers when access was no longer needed. We knew it wasn't the best situation. In fact, our auditors highlighted it as a key issue. But as usual, there were other priorities, so we kept pushing off the problem. So I was worried. Unfortunately, worry doesn't motivate change as much as getting the call, which we got. Our CIO informed me that there had been a security breach. Customer information had been downloaded from our servers. Well, we scrambled to identify the scope of the problem. Then we had to report this to our industry regulator, then to other national and state regulators where our customers were located. And that wasn't fun, I can tell you. They all asked us the same thing: who did it? It was more than embarrassing. It was the worst moment of my professional life. Any number of people could have downloaded the customer data, a third-party engineer with root access, or even one of our own admins. The culprit could have been someone who left the company. The worst part was that I knew we couldn't trace which physical user had accessed the server and performed the specific download. So we panicked. We shut down the website, froze orders from our business partners, the internet, everything. And who knows what they all thought at the time. We called in the police, and they called in the FBI. After that, I knew we needed to do something to ensure that this wouldn't happen to us again, ever. We wanted to invest in an access management solution to enable us to centrally administer and enforce access policies across our entire server infrastructure. With FoxT Server Control, we got all that, plus the ability to automatically consolidate the detailed user activity and keystroke logs from across our server domains to easily produce audit reports. With FoxT, we got peace of mind.
Hi, Ferdinand Fox here. FoxT Server Control was created to help organizations securely authorize access to administrative and other functional account privileges across Windows, Unix, and Linux servers in physical or virtual environments. With FoxT, privileged access requests are tied to individuals. In addition, the FoxT solution automatically consolidates all user access and activity logs from across diverse servers, including keystroke logs, for forensic-level traceability. The information is made available in a pre-built set of auditor-friendly reports, or you can create your own reports. With FoxT Server Control, you can control typical access points such as Telnet, FTP, SSH, Secure RDP, X-Windows, SU, and SU exec, and run as. In addition to managing these control points, FoxT also provides enhanced authentication, including the use of tokens and user passwords as part of the authorization of privileged account access. This combination of functionality enables organizations to nearly eliminate the need for administrators to know privileged account passwords.
We like the fact that with FoxT Server Control, actions such as switching to an administrative account can only be performed if the user has a positive access route, allowing him or her to do so. Even if a user knows a privileged account password, they cannot use it to perform privileged tasks unless the FoxT security server grants them permission. This stops password sharing in its tracks and the associated risk of insider fraud.
FoxT Server Control brings together a unique blend of capabilities to solve the privileged account management problem. We call these the 4 A's. Centralized administration of privileged users and access rules across platforms. Contextual authentication so that you can define when to allow passwords or when to require multiple factors for an access request. Granular configurable authorization rules that enforce who can access which servers how and when and control the switching to privileged accounts. And consolidated audit reporting. Let's start by walking through a typical setup to show how easy it is to make your servers secure.
FoxT Server Control enables our administrators to quickly and easily set up hosts and define host groups. We can also define user classes, associate user classes with host groups, and then assign physical users to the appropriate user classes. Because the web-based console centralizes administration, we have the ability to instantly provision and deprovision user accounts across all of our servers, ensuring that we give users only the access that they need to do their specific job and then quickly remove their access rights when they leave. We love that FoxT Server Control provides integration with our corporate directories and identity management system. The multiple streams of identity were harmonized, attached automatically to the correct user role in FoxT, and associated with the appropriate access entitlements, all in a single set of policies. For Active Directory, no modifications or add-ons were needed. Those users instantly adopt enhanced access control policies when they access our servers, regardless of whether they are connected to Windows, Unix, or Linux servers.
Now that we've shown you how to set up host groups and user classes, let's look at how to incorporate authentication and authorization rules. FoxT Server Control enables you to easily define and automatically enforce very granular policies for accessing Windows, Unix, and Linux physical and virtual servers. The configurable authorization rules include which superuser can access which host group, from where, such as a desktop versus the system console, when, setting limits on what time of day or day of the week a server can be accessed, and how, enforcing which access method is acceptable, such as SSH or a subservice of SSH. FoxT Server Control enables organizations to centrally define and enforce the access method used. For example, you could allow the transfer of files using SFTP without granting access to Interactive Shell. And with the FoxT solution, you can centrally manage SSH keys for servers. FoxT Server Control also supports the enforcement of which form of authentication to use based on the risk level of the access request. You can define and enforce the authentication policy based on the service being used, the host being accessed, and the user or user role. FoxT has built-in support for multiple authentication mechanisms including third-party passwords, LDAP or Active Directory, and tokens such as SecureID, SafeWord, and many others. Let's take a look at how authorization and authentication work in a real scenario. Here's Wally, a web administrator assigned to the web admin user class with the access root ability to SSH into the web server. Wally decides to telnet into the web server. The server asks FoxT Server Control to authenticate Wally. The FoxT Security Center validates that Wally is who he says he is. The server asks the FoxT Security Server if Wally is allowed to access this server through Telnet. Wally is denied Telnet access because the access rules have been defined to allow Wally SSH access to this server, not Telnet. Michael is also a system administrator who walks up to a system console. He tries to log in with the root account. Michael enters a valid root password. Access is denied because there is no rule defined in FoxT Server Control allowing the root login at the console in this organization. Let's look at another privileged user who wants to telnet into a server. Steve is a database administrator who telnets to a server. He enters his real name, then enters his password. Steve is granted telnet access because there is a rule defined in FoxT Server Control allowing him to do so. Now, Steve attempts to switch to the root account, using the root password given to him by a friend before FoxT was implemented. The switch to the root is denied. Even though Steve knows the root password, FoxT Server Control does not have an authorization rule defined that allows Steve to switch to root, so his request is denied. FoxT Server Control not only protects your Unix and Linux systems, You can also use the same FoxT solution to protect local Windows accounts in much the same way, without messing up Active Directory policies, giving you even more comprehensive security and further centralizing access management across all your systems.
It was one thing to put a system in place that automatically and proactively enforced access across our servers. It was another thing to be able to provide proof that we were in control. The auditing capabilities in FoxT Server Control give me what I need to demonstrate to the executive team and auditors that we have proactive control over who accesses our servers.
FoxT Server Control automatically consolidates the user activity logs from across your diverse servers. From this consolidated data, you can quickly produce audit-friendly reports and review the keystroke logs from privileged sessions.
I love how I can quickly produce reports to prove our ability to track privileged users and share them with our CEO and our board of directors whenever they need them. And when our auditor comes in, we can automatically provide her proof of our access controls and easily view user activity from a variety of angles with the pre-built reports that are included with FoxT. My IT director and I continually use the reports to proactively identify problem areas and fine-tune user roles and access rules.
FoxT is the leader in enterprise access management and privileged account control, delivering an innovative solution that is non-intrusive to speed deployment, is highly scalable to support your growth, and automatically adapts based on the access request risk level. This is why over 100 customers across a wide variety of industries are using the FoxT Server Control to control access to their corporate information and protect corporate value.